Dzisiejsza wizyta pani minister spraw zagranicznych Szwecji, nasze rozmowy potwierdzają wzajemną otwartość na bliską, wręcz przyjacielską współpracę między Królestwem Szwecji a Polską i bardzo się cieszymy z planowanej wizyty królewskiej w Polsce w przyszłym roku. Kontakty między Polską a Szwecją cechuje wysoka intensywność. Dosłownie dzisiaj w Sztokholmie trwa ważne wydarzenie, pierwszy polsko-szwedzki szczyt biznesowy z udziałem naszego ministra gospodarki i finansów Andrzeja Domańskiego. Jesteśmy sojusznikami strategicznymi. Niemal rok temu premierzy Donald Tusk i Ulf Kristersson podpisali w szwedzkim Harpsund odnowiony dokument o strategicznym partnerstwie. Pierwszy miałem przyjemność podpisać jeszcze z ministrem Carlem Bildtem w 2011 roku. Jesteśmy dla siebie bardzo ważnymi partnerami gospodarczymi. Nasze obroty rosną. W zeszłym roku 14,5 miliarda euro 700 szwedzkich firm zainwestowało w Polsce. Szczególne miejsce i szczególnie dobrze rozwija się współpraca przemysłów obronnych. Cieszy nas, że Szwecja dołączyła do państw Sojuszu Północnoatlantyckiego. Jest to dodatek do siły sojuszu, podnosi nasze zdolności obronne. Europa powinna jak najszybciej wypełnić zobowiązania podjęte podczas szczytu w Hadze. Polska i Szwecja dają przykład, konsekwentnie zwiększając wydatki na obronę. W przyszłym roku Polska planuje przeznaczyć 4,8% PKB na obronę, Szwecja 2,8%. Przywiązujemy dużą wagę do wdrażania unijnych inicjatyw, takich jak Rearm Europe 2030. Rozmawialiśmy też oczywiście na temat bezprecedensowych wyzwań na naszym wspólnym morzu. Flota złomu, bo tak ją trzeba nazywać, to odzwierciedlenie rzeczywistości, jakim jest to wyzwanie dla bezpieczeństwa i dla środowiska Morza Bałtyckiego. Chcemy wykorzystać rotacyjną, w tej chwili mającą miejsce prezydencję Polski w Radzie Państw Morza Bałtyckiego do wzmocnienia bezpieczeństwa regionalnego. Szwecja gości sekretariat Rady Państw Morza Bałtyckiego. Szczególne miejsce w naszych rozmowach naturalnie zajęła Ukraina oraz konieczność zapewnienia jej długoterminowego, stabilnego wsparcia wojskowego i finansowego. Koszt wojny powinien ponieść agresor, a nie europejski podatnik. Potrzebujemy także utrzymać i zwiększyć presję sankcyjną. Białoruś obok Rosji pozostaje głównym czynnikiem destabilizującym bezpieczeństwo regionalne w Europie. Priorytetem pozostaje dla nas utrzymanie poziomu bezpieczeństwa na naszej polsko-białoruskiej granicy. Jesteśmy obydwa kraje orędownikami rozszerzenia Unii i zależy nam na odblokowaniu negocjacji z Ukrainą i Mołdawią. Omówiliśmy także kwestie, które są wysoko na agendzie unijnej. Politykę migracyjną oraz klimatyczną, także jeśli chodzi o wdrażanie Paktu o Migracji i Azylu oraz systemu ETS-2. Dziękuję pani minister za bardzo dobre spotkanie. Liczę na kontynuację świetnej polsko-szwedzkiej współpracy, tak bilateralnie, jak i w Unii Europejskiej i w NATO. Dziękuję. Jeszcze raz bardzo mi było miło gościć panią minister w Warszawie.
Dziękuję panie ministrze. Madam Minister, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you, dear Radek, for the warm welcome. I am very glad to be here in Warsaw again. And our discussions today really showed that Poland and Sweden are closer than ever as NATO allies. And I'm very grateful for the support, the strong support that Poland showed during our accession process. And it also showed that we need each other more than ever. There is no other country with which Sweden has deepened its security cooperation more than with Poland in the last few years. And as I told Radek in our discussions, we need Poland in the Baltic Sea. Poland's and Sweden's strategic partnership is a pillar of security in the Baltic Sea region. As neighbors, we can play a vital role if we combine our political, security and defense capabilities. We need to act as one in the Baltic Sea, combining our political security and defense capability to defend European security. Sweden wants to enter into a far-reaching partnership of defense, security and industry with Poland. In our discussions, I brought up the Swedish submarine offer. This would be a game changer for the security in the Baltic Sea. We believe that the Swedish offer would firmly establish Poland as a major power in the region with a globally competitive defense industry. The Swedish offer also involves the UK as a big contributor, including state-of-the-art technology. We are very pleased that the British Prime Minister has expressed his support for the Swedish bid, and together Poland and Sweden, with the backing of the UK, would be a decisive force in the Baltic Sea. Today we also talked about the Polish chairmanship of the Council of the Baltic Sea States, as mentioned by you, Radek. And let me just say that I commend your work towards making the CBSS into a key forum for security and cooperation in the Baltic Sea region. It was obvious in our discussions that we look at the Russian threat in the same way. We don't just share geography, we also know our history. We are in full agreement that an imperialistic Russia is the defining long-term threat to the security of our countries, to the Baltic Sea region, and indeed to Europe. Almost 4 years have passed since the start of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Poland and Sweden are strong, committed partners to Ukraine, and we share a firm belief that we need to scale up support to Ukraine as it defends itself against Russia's brutal war of aggression. Ukraine is not only defending itself, but also European security. And our two countries, we just don't say that. We also deliver on those words. Long-term and substantial support to Ukraine, including concrete progress on its path towards EU membership, is the most important signal to show Russia that time is not on their side. Speaking of Ukraine, I would like to express my deep appreciation and admiration for Poland's leadership in supporting Ukraine. And let me also in this context say how much we appreciate Poland as an active and constructive partner in the EU. Today in Stockholm, as mentioned, a business summit is taking place with Polish and Swedish government representatives and companies. They are discussing how we can strengthen and develop the competitiveness of both our economies, how we can deepen business cooperation on defense, innovation, energy, infrastructure, and digitalization, and how we can strengthen our support for Ukraine. This is what Polish-Swedish partnership looks like in practice. Thank you once again for your warm welcome.
Thank you so much. Mamy parę minut na kilka pytań, także zapraszam. To w takim razie zaczniemy tam od końca. Pierwsza osoba się zgłaszała.
Dziękuję. Hello, Jan Oleński, Polskie Radio. Madam Minister, you've mentioned the submarines and that part of Polish-Swedish cooperation for the program Orca. So my first question is to Mr. Sikorski. Poland hasn't chosen a country from which we're going to buy the submarines yet. Maybe you have some knowledge whether we are closer to making our decision and who might that be. And to you, Madam Minister, how would this deal influence our cooperation between Poland and Sweden? Thank you.
It's an important decision, which we hope will be taken soon. As you know, there was recently a resolution of the cabinet. We have received competitive offers from both European allies and from as far as Korea. I have not yet examined the strengths of the various offers. Unusually, this decision will be taken by the cabinet, not by the defense ministry. So I'll make up my judgment when I've seen all the offers. But Sweden can be sure that it will be treated in a fair manner, and that the Polish defense industry also has a competitive offer for Sweden.
Thank you very much for the question. And we are neighbors, and I see Poland and Sweden as two fundamentally like-minded countries on the big strategic issues facing Europe today. And together we are uniquely positioned to constrain Russia's aggressive behavior in the Baltic Sea region. And that is why we must strengthen the Polish-Swedish partnership even further. And the Swedish submarine offer, like I mentioned, I think would be a game changer for the security in the Baltic Sea, which is in our common interest. And we believe that the offer would establish Poland as a major power in this part of Europe. Thank you.
Thank you so much. TVP World.
Good afternoon, Paweł Trzaskowski, TVP World. A question to Madam Minister Stenergard. You mentioned that Poland and Sweden should act as one on the Baltic Sea. What actions are the most urgent at the moment in the Baltic Sea? And the same question to Minister Sikorski, if I may. Thank you.
Well, we have this clunker fleet plying the waters of the Baltic, sometimes without inadequate insurance, sometimes using tankers that are woefully technically obsolete, which is a source of income for Putin's war, but is also a threat to both the undersea critical infrastructure, such as cables and pipelines, and, as you know, to the environment. This is an urgent matter to resolve, and the Council of Baltic Sea States is working on new procedures. Such an environmental disaster in a shallow, closed sea as the Baltic would be very expensive to deal with, never mind the impact on aquatic life. So we need urgent solutions, and Poland and Sweden see eye to eye on this.
Yes, let me just affirm what the minister said. We are extremely worried about the threat from the shadow fleet or the clunker fleet, as referred to, both environmentally but also security-wise, and because it is also so important for the Russian revenues and for the Russian war. And I think we can be even faster when it comes to intelligence sharing. This is something that we constantly discuss, cooperating seamlessly in the Baltic Sea region, also being able to respond quickly and with strength to Russian activity, whatever it might be, and to also be quite innovative in that.
Thank you so much. Reuters, widziałem, że zgłaszał.
Barbarling Reuters. A bit following up on the previous questions. The previous question, Madam Minister, could the military cooperation our two countries have evolve into a permanent stationary of Swedish troops in Poland, for example?
For the first time since the 17th century.
Well, I think that we have potential to deepen our cooperation even further. And of course, at every given moment, we have to evaluate how we do that best. And I see great potential in many areas. I think we're right now not discussing the deployment of Swedish troops in Poland, but we are contributing to the NATO air policing and also with the Gripen fighter jets also securing Polish airspace.
Już chyba ostatnie pytanie, jeszcze raz Polskie Radio.
Przedostatnie pytanie się zgłasza.
Przepraszam, to
Jasne.
tak, żebyśmy nie powtarzali.
Dzień dobry, dziękuję. Łukasz Sobolewski, Polsat News. Dzień dobry, panie premierze. Pytanie dotyczące reakcji słów ambasadora Niemiec w Polsce na wcześniejsze słowa Arkadiusza Mularczyka o raporcie o stratach wojennych. Ambasador Niemiec napisał na X-ie tak: szanowny panie pośle, myli się pan...
Redaktorze, zostawmy pytania dotyczące polskiego rynku, tak to nazwijmy.
Polsko-niemieckiego.
Polsko-niemieckiego
Na
po konferencji, dobrze?
Dziękuję.
Odpowiemy na to, ale po spotkaniu. Polskie Radio, bardzo proszę.
Yeah, I'd like to ask one more question. Poland has become a regular target of sabotage acts, mainly different hybrid warfare acts we're observing. Also today, there was one incident that happened. So I wanted to ask if you're observing the same kind of situation in Sweden, and if so, how are you combating it? Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And first of all, I want to be very clear that any sabotage is, of course, unacceptable. And we don't know the details of this recent sabotage, but we've seen similar incidents recently in different parts of Europe. I think that Sweden has not been as targeted as Poland, but we also see different forms of hybrid activities in Sweden, which are extremely worrying. And of course, Sweden stands in full solidarity with Poland on this issue. And of course, we also saw the recent drone intrusions that worried NATO and worried us, and we're willing to contribute in any way to our joint security.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dziękujemy.
Thank you so much.